Had a new sword. Hold on. There. Yeah, because I'm saying Arsenal player took him a bit. I actually mentioned a United player as well. I mentioned Rooney and all that. I'm just saying, like, he scored more goals after 30 than Henry, Ronaldo. No, Henry, R9, Ronaldo, Rooney. Just shows the greatness. I mean, rent-free, you can cry what you want, mate. You're not really rent-free in my head. I couldn't give a shit about Arsenal. They're little bros. But I wanted to get into this, though. So there's like, obviously, every international break, there's these weird debates that go around that are about 5-10-year-old debates. But this one is always the famous one. Hazard, Salah is usually always the debate. They've added Bale into this one now. All in their prime. The key word, all in their prime. So it's not longevity. It's not on their day. Well, it is on their day, kind of. But it's all in their prime. Who am I taking? Gareth Bale, Mohamed Salah, or Eden Hazard. Firstly, in the key word, in their prime. And before people to go, oh, but he got goals and assists. Salah gets dropped straight away. Nowhere near the other two in his prime. Good, unbelievable footballer. And you could argue, if you were saying for their whole careers, from aged about 20 to about what, his longevity is probably the best out of all of them. The consistency levels and all of that. In terms of their prime, he doesn't get near Bale and Salah. Hazard. Doesn't get near it. I'd go Hazard in their prime. 100%. Bale was probably the best in finals, clutch games. But even then, I'd argue differ. I mean, Hazard scored goals in finals. An Arsenal fan in the chat would tell you that. He absolutely ripped them apart in the Europa League final. He ripped Man United apart in an FA Cup final. He's turned up in finals. But yeah, as I say, keyword all in that prime. I'm taking Hazard. He had everything you'd want in a footballer. He was intelligent. He could play in multiple positions. He was a team player. He was a playmaker. He could score goals. He could produce magical moments out of nothing. So can these players, by the way, the other two. But Hazard just had more stardust. Hazard was one of those players. You know that everyone knows that ever played football. One of those players where just give me the ball and I want us the game. And I get Gareth Bale and Salah sort of have that. But Hazard had more of that to his game. I believe Hazard could score a fucking free kick. Hazard could get the ball and just run for 4-5 players. I remember his goal against West Ham. I still remember it. I had to stand up and clap. I remember that. Where he got the ball and he just dribbled through 3 players, bang, goal, bottom corner. Switch of foot, weak foot, bang. Hazard, weak foot. There's something about Belgians with their weak foot. Trossard and De Bruyne have got it as well. And Tielemans. There's something about Belgians. They must just teach them not to play with a strong foot in that country, because they all seem to be so good with their weak foots. Hazard in his pomp, I don't know about what you lot would think, was better than all of them. Better than both of them, sorry. But if you're going to talk about overall careers, probably Bale. But he's probably the lowest in terms of consistency and longevity and availability and all the other words that you could probably consider in. Bale was injured the most. Bale was probably the least consistent. He only had about 3 or 4 good seasons. And he was on the bench a lot. He got booed a lot by Real Madrid fans. Hazard never really got booed by Madrid fans. He was just when he was on the bench, because he was always injured. But yeah. I don't know who I'd take at overall careers, I don't know who I would take. All 3 in their prime, who are you taking? Gareth Bale, Mohamed Salah, Eden Hazard. As I said, prime, I'm taking Hazard. I don't know what you lot would think in the chat. Salah, I'd take if I wanted a goal scorer. It doesn't even need an explanation. But what the debate? The debate is all 3 in their primes. Gareth Bale, Mohamed Salah, Hazard. I said I'd take Hazard in the primes, but I'm talking about overall in their careers now. Not just who had the better career, because I think Bale had the better career, but the thing is with Bale is he only had about 3 or 4 seasons where he was actually top notch. Other than that, he all had injury problems, inconsistencies. he carried his nation, to be fair to him, Bale. So did Hazard. But I don't know. I feel like in terms of consistency and longevity, Bale was the worst of the three. Hazard's probably the second of the three, and Salah's probably the first. Hazard and Salah, I feel like Hazard and Salah got a little bit of a different thing because Hazard was better at a young age. When he was 18, 19, he was better than Salah was. It's when Salah is better at 30 and stuff like that. So Hazard was at the top. Bale career, Hazard talent, Salah. Yeah, I think that's the spot on. But the thing is with Bale is we say career, but some of his career he didn't even do much. Like he got Champions Leagues. He got a Champions League in 2022. I don't remember him playing a game. Like so did Hazard, but no one brings it up for Hazard because everyone knows he barely played a game. He also got a Champions League in 16-17. I can barely remember him playing a game in 16-17. He had about 2 good years at Tottenham. Got the move to Madrid. Had 3 or 4 good seasons at Madrid. So I can take that as what you will, I guess. Yeah, I think that is. I think if you're, but I think overall as a player, if you have to judge them off their career, talent, and consistency. I think people forget those final years at Spurs and first few Madrid was on. Yeah, he was unbelievable. But I'm saying exactly like final few years at Spurs. What was that like 2 years? And then the few years at Madrid, it was like 3 years. He was only good for about 5 years. Hazard was the best player in the Premier League for about 4 seasons out of about 8. Not to mention what Hazard was doing at Lille. Hazard was unreal, bro. Like Hazard used to run through he used to win you the game. Like he's one of them players, as I say, give me the ball and I'll win you the game. Just give me the ball, I'll win you the game. Genius footballer. Salah, in terms of consistency, as I say, yeah. He's got the goals, he's got the output. I think I watched some they were going through like the stats of it. I watched some geezer on YouTube, and he said that Salah has got 86%, 0.86 GA per game. I think for Liverpool, I believe. I don't know if that was it. Was it 0.86 GA or something for Liverpool? I don't know if that was the exact number per game. Hazard was at like 0.60, so it's like 20 cent more. Is it about 20 cent more? Nearly 30, 0.30 GA per game. I don't know what Bale's is. Yeah, as I say, I don't know. This one's a weird debate, and where it is a weird debate as well because they're not the same player. None of them are the same player. You could play Hazard in a you could actually play a front three of all 3 of these players, or you could play Hazard in a 10 and put Bale up top and put Salah on the right. You could actually play all these together, which is why it's a bit of a weird one to compare them. But yeah, I don't know. I'd say prime, as I said. That's the only one I can answer is prime, their best season, their best run of form. I'm taking Hazard. Hazard won Chelsea league titles, being their best player. But as I said, longevity is obviously a thing people do judge footballers off, and consistency. And I do understand that. And I think Salah is better consistent wise. I feel like we all just feel like Salah scores every week. Because he pretty much does, or if he don't score, he assists. Whereas with Hazard, to be fair, I also understand Hazard didn't need GA to be the best player on the pitch. He was just a magician of a footballer. But yeah, I guess that's probably the best way to judge it. I don't know. Yeah, I think you've probably put it perfect there. Bale career, Hazard talent, Salah consistency. So it's a question based off basically of a one-off season. Who would you take in a one-off? I don't know. It says all in their prime, but I like prime doesn't need to be one season. It needs to be all playing at their best, like what we saw, not like what we like ability-wise, because we know Hazard ability-wise shits on both of them, but like what we saw at their best, what their very very best performances were, their very best run of form, their very best season or whatever, their very best few seasons or whatever. Because as I say, I think as well as you can judge footballers at their best, but you can also judge footballers at their worst. And Hazard at his worst completely just dropped like a sack of shit at Madrid. He dropped like a sack of shit. At his worst, he was awful. Whereas I imagine if you look at Mohamed Salah at his worst, he's still performing well. At times, I guess you could probably say his time at Chelsea wasn't that great, but Do you know what I mean? At Roma, he had decent numbers, and at Liverpool, almost every season's been a good. Even if he's not been great in terms of performances, he still puts up numbers. But yeah, I guess that's weird. I think it is all playing at their best, but like not for like a one-off game or whatever. I feel like for a run of form or a season, something like that. I feel like that's the debate in all their prime. Overall, so I have no idea who I'd actually say is the best player overall.